Thank you for browsing page 121. Well, I'm pretty excited. We're going to be playing Traveler in a few hours as of the making of this video. So I'm actually pretty excited to be preparing my game. And while preparing my game, in conversation with a couple of my players, I found out that there's some stuff they want out of Central Supply Catalog. Unfortunately, what they want is, well, it's tough to afford. So today's video is going to concentrate on some of the physical stuff you can get for your character, some of the biotech items under augments. Specifically what they're interested in, all these augments are excellent, by the way. Specifically what they're interested is in muscular bridging and or physical augmentation. So those are the two I'm going to take a look at today, since I, as the GM, was just reading them over, trying to decide how I was going to do this. A little background on the game so far, the campaign. I haven't run it since it turns out it was late April. This summer ended up being a little tough for us to schedule things just based on everybody's individual schedules. The problem is, going into tonight's game, I've lost not one but two of my players, but we've decided to go forward anyway. So it's not going to be a full group, but what we do in is something we hold over from D&D. It's the beam in. If somebody can't make it because in one case the player has to work, he just can't be here, he's got to work unexpectedly, I don't want to penalize him in any way. So what we'll do is we'll have him not be in the game tonight, but any significant achievement or problem that the group encounters, he'll just be part of the next time he comes in when he beams in. It's something I've done since the old days of D&D because I didn't want to penalize anybody if they had to miss a couple of games. It's never been important enough to me to keep my stories so straight and untouched that I had to worry about whether somebody was able to make every single game. If I was sticking to that, I wouldn't be playing Traveler tonight. We'd probably be playing Spellfire. So I'm happy that we're just going to go forward and we're going to play Traveler. A little bit of background. You're going to see these are very costly, and I'm going to explain a little bit about the background of how they can afford it. In the last game I did, my players and their far trader had an opportunity to run some illicit goods. They took the contract and then skipped. They have made an enemy of the local crime lord. The good news in Traveler is the local crime lord is not necessarily somebody you have to deal with, what with you being able to not be local. And that's what they've done. So they basically skipped with the goods. Because it was an underworld type situation, they were able to offload the goods at 100% profit to themselves, way elsewhere from where they took the deal. But unbeknownst to them, and they'll know this by tonight, there is a bounty hunter on their tail, as hired by the crime lords that they betrayed. But back to the important thing, they got a big pot of money, and they're deciding how they're going to split it up. They're probably going to do it evenly, but a couple of my players are interested in the muscular bridging. This is very expensive at 250,000 credits to get it done. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and then there's some preparation for me too as the game master, because tonight I've got to go over this with my players. So muscular bridging. Through surgery and a long, painful recovery process lasting 1 die weeks, this augment adds thousands of microscopic protein strings to the traveler's muscular system, making every muscle stronger and more flexible. This increases the traveler's strength and dex by +1 and movement by +3 meters per minor action. This augmentation is not affected by electromagnetic or detectable by electronic means. And what this gives you is muscular bridging, tech level 13. They gain strength +1, dex +1, +3 movement in meters, and it costs 250,000 credits. So the first thing I have to do is find a tech level 13 facility that can do this. And where they've ended up, they're in Bowman. They're having a little trouble finding that, but they're going to work on that as part of tonight's game. So I'm not going to dwell too long on that. The next part is going to be whoever gets this is going to be down 1 to 6 weeks while they're recovering from it. That's something that we can build in also. I do track the time in my Traveler game, and I like to, I always track how many weeks and things like that, because people are training when they're in jump or in other downtime. They're training to gain other skills and abilities, so I go ahead and I track it rather carefully. So in this case, I won't let this person train at all, while they're recovering. Even though they have plenty of time to read, they're going to be distracted by the physical therapy and chemical therapy and anything else they're going to need to make this happen. So I'm not going to let them actually gain any study toward a skill. If the player really squawks about it, I might allow them to gain like half what they normally would. So if they were laid up for 4 weeks, I might allow them to gain 2 weeks worth of study on a particular skill in order to kind of fill the downtime a little bit. Anybody that's been unfortunate enough to spend a long time in a hospital knows you end up with some odd interests while you're in the hospital, and you come out with skills you never really thought about having. So having done that personally, I can understand that you're going to want something. So I'm not going to present this to the players necessarily. I'm going to let them talk me into it, but we'll go from there. So I've got to find the tech level facility that can do it. I've got to find the persons capable of doing it. They'll be at the facility. And then the cost is 250,000 credits. They did not make enough for everybody to just go ahead and get this, but they did make enough. They made close to 600,000 credits total. So they've made enough that if one or two of the players wants to kind of invest their future in this, they can take some of the money that they haven't earned yet. The players will throw it into a pot and they'll let them do it. They've already discussed this last game. So it is a possibility for them, for up to 2 of them, to actually get this, and then the others would be sitting on the 100,000, and we'd go from there. So looking at the muscular bridging, I know I have one player that's absolutely going to want it, so I'm already setting up for that, where they're going to find it in District 268 and how they're going to travel there. I'm also going to have the bounty hunter on their tails. That's kind of be a subplot, because this person who gets this done is going to be down 1 die weeks, so they could be down 1 to 6 weeks. Plenty of opportunity for a bounty hunter to catch up. So this is the one that they're most likely going to go for, because while they were interested in the next one, they really can't afford it yet. And that's physical augmentation. A traveler's endurance, strength, or reflexes can be increased by replacing motor neutrons with faster synthetic cells, reinforcing bones, replacing organs with tough, vat-grown clones. Augmentations must be purchased for strength, dex, and endurance separately, and only one augmentation for each characteristic may be installed at any one time. These are not upgradable. A new augmentation must be installed to achieve a higher increase at a later date. This augmentation is not affected by electromagnetic attacks or detectable by electronic means. So augment, for physical augmentation, you get +1. It's a tech level 11. +1 to strength, dex, or endurance. It costs 500,000 credits. For 1,000,000 credits, you get physical augmentation 2 at tech level 12, +2 to strength, +2 to dex, or +2 to endurance. And physical augmentation +3 is tech level 15, which the players don't have access to because they're not in the Imperium. They're in District 268 in the non-Imperial sections. +3 to strength, dex, or endurance, and that costs 5,000,000 credits, which is well beyond what they could afford. They could possibly afford the physical augmentation 1 for 500,000 credits, but actually, if you look again, the muscular bridging, it is a better deal. Interestingly, it doesn't talk about how long you'll be down. It doesn't give you a length of time that you're going to be laid up while you get this physical augmentation. I would go ahead and make it the same as it would be for the muscular bridging. So of the 2, I know they really want the physical augmentation, but they're not able to afford it. We're going to be dealing with muscular bridging probably. So 1 or 2 of my players is going to get it. They'll get +1 to strength, +1 to dex. This is a one-off, by the way, and they're aware of it. The payout I gave them in the last game, I made clear this was kind of the bonanza that you couldn't ordinarily expect in Traveler. But I wanted to see what they do with it if they had access to some of the higher dollar things. So this is going to kind of be a one and done for 2 of my players. It's going to be interesting to see how they role play this out, because it's one thing I'm going to insist on. They have to role play it out to see what exactly they're going to end up doing. So that's it. That's all I've got today on page 121. Just some physical augmentations. And this is, of course, out of the Central Supply Catalog 2023 update. This is an excellent book, by the way. I recommend it completely. There's just a ton of great stuff sitting in these pages. But that's all I got today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please take a look at the Patreon. Help me out there. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you next time.